Duel Review is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com. On today's Duel Review, it's arcade games that we were fond of as kids. Ah, I'm RJ.
And I'm Nick.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to May 1st. We're doing our favorite arcade games growing up.
That's right. And there's quite a few to go over, so we're going to spend some more time on others than other, whatever. We're going to start off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990.
Arcade, yeah.
Yeah, during the craze, it was arcade. It was, it had four different players, obviously one for each turtle. Perfect. Brilliant. It was just like hours and hours of fun. I mean, like I'd beg actually it was my parents' friend. My parents would never spend money on that. So my friends' parents would give us, a couple bucks each or whatever when we went to the bowling alley or something. They had an arcade room. They'd have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we would just play it as much as we could. And it really meant something to us because we only had a certain amount of money. We'd stack up our quarters, of course, and then we'd be real careful and whatever, and it would take for freaking ever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was so magical.
Yeah. What was
we went to like roller rinks and stuff. And
yeah.
They always had like X-Men. X-Men's another one we're going to talk about. Four players. You could do what was it? Cyclops, Wolverine, Dazzler, I think, and Nightcrawler. I think and Storm. I think you could choose between more than four.
Yeah. I was going to say about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Two things. One, you can find an updated version called Reshelled, yeah.
Check
it. I think it's on Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. I don't know why you didn't like it. I was fine with it.
I freaking hate it. I hate it. It strips all the nostalgia. If you buy the other ones, like the X-Men one, and then we're going to talk about the Simpsons. I mean, we might as well mention that too. Again, 4-player. Marge, Lisa, Homer Simpson. So it's like
Bart.
It's like one of those things that it's like made for it, Teenage Ninja Turtles, 4 characters.
It just kind of fell in.
But you can buy all of them online now. You can buy them, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live.
I have Simpsons for sure.
But the problem is that when you buy them, you have nostalgia, and you're like, but because you don't have to do the quarter thing, and these things they're very short, but they're very hard. And
they're
going to die a lot.
They're made to eat quarters.
Right. You're going to die a lot. So when you have unlimited lives, it just goes so quickly, and it just gets frustrating the way that you die because it's just like it's superfluous. It doesn't really make so it doesn't unfortunately hold up. It's only purely a nostalgic, I believe. It's like when I got the Simpsons one, I played through Homer and then I played through Marge, and like my enthusiasm waned, like Homer and then Marge and then Bart, and I never finished Lisa because it was just like there's not enough added content. I mean, maybe if they had done like a really in-depth unlock system like Mortal Kombat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You play for the first couple levels is what you get something new or whatever. They did have some fun things like sound bites and music and character bio, stuff that you could unlock, but it just wasn't a lot of added value. And for $10, I mean, seriously, you can get, I don't want to say Rainbow Runner because that's a bad example, but what's that one where you have like blue and red lasers? And anyway, you can get a lot of these new arcade games for $10. So it's not, I can't recommend it. And then the reshelled one is all different graphics, and they did mix it up just a little bit as far as controls. It doesn't feel the same to me. He still likes it, but
yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, I don't
for $10.
I didn't buy it. I played the demo.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I still liked it just fine. I mean, if I had to choose between the old one and the new one, I'd probably go with the new one because I like although the old one does have the nostalgia value, especially.
Yeah, but again, it only gets you so far.
With like Bebop or Rocksteady, doing the glowing red, and because that was like iconic.
But one thing though is I can remember when this arcade game was out, I loved it so freaking much.
Right.
And then they released one called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade on the Nintendo. I was so excited, and I did have a lot of fun with that game. That game is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a fairly good. It's not really even a port because it is totally different, but the feeling was still satisfactory. So I did have a lot of fun, but it was not the same. And so when years and years later, when they finally released it on arcade, I was like first in line to buy it, and then it was kind of really disappointing because again, the replay value just really isn't there. So once you get through it, even though the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though it's like the first one we're going to talk about, it's longer than the X-Men and Simpsons. So the X-Men one has a lot of fun because you have like Professor X's voice, which is ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't sound anything like we would ever imagine Professor X, or through the annals of time, Professor X has never sounded like that. But help me, my X-Men. It's just like whatever. Actually, that was even better.
Yeah, that was pretty
Professor
good.
X than the game, but still a lot of fun. You get to fight against Magneto for the first time. We hadn't had this stuff.
Right.
We didn't have a plethora of other games to draw from. And arcades were like a communal experience as well when you had multiplayer.
And because you're using quarters, you're more invested in your characters.
Yeah.
You're more invested in the life that you have. So it's I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and if you were really good, you might be able to beat one of these games like an hour or something, and
Right.
like with $1 or something. But you'd have to be really darn good.
Yeah, man, and that would be like your victory over everything. You would conquer the world with that.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say way back when we started this show was you really kind of associate yourself with characters. Like when we were talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was always Donatello. Donatello was my favorite character.
Yeah, but Donatello has the most range, so that's not really fair. Because I would have been Raph.
Yeah,
Totally.
I know you would have. And then like in The Simpsons, I was always Bart Simpson. I loved having the skateboard and beating people up with it.
I was, funny enough, I was Homer a lot, but I was also Marge. Because again, she had more range.
Yeah.
I never was Lisa.
I liked Lisa, but I preferred Bart more.
And then what were you in? I was always Nightcrawler or Wolverine.
I was always Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
I liked Nightcrawler.
So we definitely had our favorites, and a lot of people had those favorites. It was just kind of like, did I get here first? Do I get to pick the first character?
Yeah,
it's
but
like, oh.
I think I mentioned
stuck with Dazzler. Oh, I still hate you. Anyway.
I think I mentioned that. I forget when, but it used to be you used to associate yourself with the Beatle. Oh, I love the Beatles. Who's your I love Ringo? Whatever. In this one, it's like, oh, who do you associate yourself with? I'm Donatello. I'm Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of people wanted to be Michelangelo because he was the cool guy, but his range sucked. So he's the hardest one to play.
He was better than Raphael. His range was better.
Oh well, that's true. Yeah, he's a little bit better than Raph.
But Raphael had the brooding kind of I'm angry at everything.
That's why I like him.
Yeah.
So. And these arcade games also are just a couple of buttons and a stick. So there was 3, I think, in X-Men because you did like the super attack that would have to charge up or whatever. But then it was just
I think there was 2.
Jump and
I think there was 2 for
Teenage Mutant
Ninja Turtles
and 2 for Simpsons, I think. Well, maybe. Anyway, So very fondly.
Yeah, because to do the super, you just press them both.
Other ones we want to talk about, of course. Just real quick, we did talk about that Dragon Ball Z game, and I do remember that little Goku running around. It was very Mario-y. First time I ever played Mario, it was way before the Nintendo came out, and it was on arcade.
Yeah,
which is really weird to say. I mean, Donkey Kong was there, so I guess it was natural progression for them to make one of those. But it was weird. But it did get me so excited that I was able to convince my friend's parents again to talk to my dad, and my dad got me a Nintendo. God bless him, because he got it for me, and I'm sure he thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. But that was magic.
Yeah.
So anyway, also shooting games and fighting games. Those are
right.
2 others that we need to talk about. The shooting games, I swear I remember ones from way back.
Yeah, House of the Dead I thought I was playing in 94, but I guess not, because apparently it came out in 97.
Yeah, that's what it said, but Time Crisis was at least 95.
And that was always fun.
But again, I thought that was a little bit earlier, but
And I like personally, my favorite was always House of the Dead because you would shoot zombies and you'd have these little.
It is more fun, but that was the era again that we didn't have all this home gaming stuff. So all the peripherals, we didn't have moves and connects and stuff. So
and the little Nintendo Zapper.
Yeah, there was little zappers and it was connected. Well, that was even before the Nintendo Zapper. At least some of it was. So that was magic. Always kids on those, bogarting those things. And a lot of times you'd get one and one wouldn't work, and it's damn it. It's like this is a 2-player game, and you really have to make it whatever fun, and there's only one that works.
Yeah.
And then so the fighting games. I remember Killer Instinct. There were definitely Tekken and stuff at the time.
Right.
I loved Killer Instinct.
I loved Killer Instinct Gold.
That was 1995, I think. Again.
The original or Gold?
Yours was 97. Gold was probably 96 or something, but I'm talking the original.
Yeah, I liked Gold. Gold was the one that I played more. I don't remember ever playing the original other than on Super Nintendo. I think I played it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite arcade fighting game, and this is actually the one that I put the most amount of money into, was the original Soul Calibur. I love that game. You know, just it was fluid. You know, the fighting was awesome. You know, Killick was always my favorite, but again, you know, he's the button masher. He can do anything with. You know, but then to play as Siegfried or it was just awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, when Street Fighter, obviously very iconic, and I played that a lot. I remember, our bowling alley had, a pool table, and then it was surrounded all the way around with video games. Hardly anybody played pool. We were all playing the video games, and Street Fighter always had a huge line.
Yeah.
And, man, it's such a different thing than nowadays, because, you had to go somewhere to play these games. And
I don't even think kids know what arcades are anymore.
Part of that was magic. Part of that was really, you just focused on it. There was nothing else to take you just focused on it. You watched other people play. It was a brand new kind of thing. It was just so fun, and it was expensive, probably for our parents. But,
quarters at a time.
I'm not sure that we can recapture that exactly. It really feels, sad, but when you look at Soul Calibur, the reason I wasn't even considering really talking about it, just because it's modern enough that when it's on a game console, there's no reason not to pay money for it. You know what I mean? But I was thinking about all those other games like Streets of Rage, right?
Yeah.
You got that one recently, and that was a great arcade game.
And Cruis'n USA,
and
that was fun.
Dudes, Bad Dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
These are all arcade games that were totally worth it when they were arcade games.
Golden Axe was
now,
arcade.
if they're not free, it's kind of like meh.
What was it? Spy Hunter? Was that?
Yeah,
Spy Hunter
absolutely.
was fun.
And the Cruis'n USA.
Yeah,
you were talking about that had the actual steering wheel, and of course they have some of these now, but most of them are like you get to fly a jet or a mech or something, and it's like 4 pedals and.
That reminds me. Yeah, one of my favorite old school.
Thing actually moves.
One of my favorite old school ones was the ones that it was like 3D, but it was like really crude, so you look like boxes. And you had two sticks, and you had a chair to sit in, and you would sit there and navigate this mech and shoot things.
Yeah.
That was
forget
awesome.
the name of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was like Mech Fighter. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that one was
didn't
really
have,
fun.
Dance Revolution and stuff.
They were really doing some very innovative things that you can't do in the household.
Well, of course. Oh, like 1942. Oh, we can keep going on.
Yeah.
Like, I love that game. In fact, I think it's on place. I don't know why I haven't bought it on arcade yet, because I do love that game, and I think that one would possibly hold up because it's a little different.
Yeah.
Even though you did die a lot, there's more skill involved than just luck.
Yes.
I mean, X-Men, like there's some skill, but it's just a lot of jumping in and whatever, and then also like backing up real quick and then forward, to aim towards them. But it's a little bit different thing, and that's a freaking hard game. 1942, hard game. We could just go on and on.
Yeah.
The original Kung Fu, like one of the games that like started it all, is an arcade game. So, it's too bad we missed that. I know there's the Xbox thing kind of tried to emulate that. You can play like Asteroids and stuff.
Yeah.
You walk around virtually and go up a level, and here's the the Atari section or whatever, but it's nowhere near. It's too bad. Pinball as well.
Arcades were definitely. I mean, they do have those like gaming cafes now where you come in, you get some food, and you can sit there and play. But
I also remember, like, I used to go to I don't remember the name of it, like Fantasia or something, and they had a table that's Pac-Man, right? I'm sure they still have some around.
Oh yeah.
But you'd sit there, you'd eat, and you'd play Pac-Man, and you'd trade it off.
This bar that I used to go to had one of those. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, we take for granted
McCormick's in New Brunswick
how good video games are now, and we complain when they don't totally captivate us, or the stories. Like Mass Effect 3 is a perfect example. People are complaining about the story. Well, screw you guys. I mean, seriously, how much work goes into these things?
Yeah.
And if they're not, they don't necessarily need to cater to. I mean, they're telling a story. They tell the story they want, and if they're truly copping out, then obviously we know that, and they need to do better than that. But in some situations where if you don't like the ending, well, that's the ending. You don't write an author and say change the ending of this book, or if you do, it doesn't get media press.
Although I think they are changing Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So anyway,
whatever. So yeah, we love them, and hopefully you've just learned a whole bunch of great video games to check out. Yeah, our favorite nostalgia games. I didn't ask you what your favorite what game you garnered the most quarters on.
Probably Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Either that or X-Men. Those two are, every time I saw them, I had to play them.
So tell us your favorite arcade game if you're old enough to have been to arcades. And yeah, friends us on Facebook.
Follow us on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube. Tell us what you think.
We have that contest going on, which I'm not going to attempt to talk about. I'll let him do it. Go ahead.
Just send us the thing that you think might be overlooked, and whether it's anime or comic or video game, and we will pick the one that we like the best, and you will win a T-shirt for your efforts. This is the Blood Fallen logo from
That's right.
from Fisk,
And they can all be found on SpiderWolf.com along with his card game. Please. Which has instructional videos and tutorials
are up
and
now, so
really great stuff, so you
out.
can get a feel of it, and then buy it because that's what we want you to do. Support
there's a lot of good backstory
artists.
and stuff in there. I'm doing like illustrated novels and stuff, eventually comic books, video games, all sorts of stuff from that world. So this is the first taste of that world. So yay!
Hi. Bye.
See ya.
Oh
Yes.
damn you, sir! Damn you!
Oh, why?
Bye. Okay. Damn you.
I am not an ocean to be damned.
Not an ocean to be damned.
Up next, the sci-fi series The Lost Room. So there used to be this thing called the arcade.
Yeah, really.
All right. On today's what the hell's my problem? So that was the 1st of May?
That was the 1st of May.
Oh, did you say it? Did I say that?
I said it was the 1st of May.
Okay. So I wasn't paying. I was just waiting to pounce on my.
Okay.
That's right, Nick.